Over to Texas's former conference, the Big 12, looking at number 16 Colorado at Kansas. This game being played at Arrowhead Stadium, the Chiefs Stadium in Kansas City. So a little bit of a situational spot just by the notion that Kansas has home field, but I'm sure we'll see Buffs fans travel well in this game. Maybe, Brett, you'll make the trip over after you. Where are you headed again this weekend?
I won't spoil it. It's a game we're going to talk about here.
Right.
Later on. Yeah.
Okay, so probably not. I blanked on where you're going. But I have a betting guide up for this game at thelines.com. That I do know. And similar to Arkansas, Texas, obviously different degree of opponent A and team I'm fading B. So Colorado tied for the third best cover rate in the country. I have this all in my article, but Cliff Notes here, 8-2 against the spread, 80% hit rate, covering the point spread. And Travis Hunter, you have an article dictating this over at thelines.com, Brett. The odds-on favorite, far and away in that market to win the Heisman, the dual threat Hunter, leading the pack against Genty, along with Ward that we discussed earlier on. And still, I'm looking to fade the Buffs, selling high on Colorado. The Jayhawks, a little bit undervalued in the market despite covering their last 4 games. And with Colorado still on the outside looking in, but having that crack at making the college football playoff, a little bit of a crease there, along with the fact that they could, scenarios up in the air, but they could clinch a spot in the Big 12 championship game this weekend. So like I alluded to with Kansas, they're hot after starting 1-6 straight up. They have that upset win over BYU last weekend on the road. Jalen Daniels with the miracle pooch punt to set up Kansas in a goal-to-go situation. And Daniels tied, by the way, just to the point that I brought up with Kansas maybe being a little bit undervalued in the market still, despite covering a handful of games of late. 5th most passing yards lost to drop. So Kansas struggled early on offensively. Daniels maybe a little bit shaky coming off of the injury that kept him out all of last season. But Kansas starting to round into form offensively at a great time where there's still a little bit of value to me in the market with Kansas getting the 3 points at home, juiced albeit. But still, Colorado -3, -105 as we record here on Thursday at Bet365. The Jayhawks, speaking of adjusted line yards, like I mentioned with Ohio State, 6th most adjusted line yards in college football. Colorado's defense much improved in that regard, but it's not a dominant defensive line. They rank 55th in stuff rate. And Kansas, if they get that ground game going with Daniels, dual threat quarterback, and Devin Neal, they rank outside the top 100 across college football in tempo. So you slow down the clock. It's not like you're getting a double-digit point spread, but you keep the pace in your favor, and that does generally favor the underdog. In Colorado, I get they have all the highlight reel plays this season, and rightfully so, with Sanders and Hunter. Sanders potentially being a top 5 pick at the quarterback position, but in the NFL draft, when I say that. But Colorado ranks outside of the top 40 in college football in EPA per play, success rate, and explosive play rate. So I kind of think Colorado is not only being overvalued overall, but in particular with their offense. This isn't a dominant offense, despite the names maybe making you believe it is. Kansas +3, -116 is a bet for me at Bet365. I got a little bit of a better number earlier in the week, and you can check out that bet in our Discord channel, the Lines Discord channel. It's free. The link is over at thelines.com in the top right-hand corner. Brett, I know it's not a bet for you, but are you siding with me with the technically hometown Jayhawks? We'll see a better home crowd or road crowd for Colorado if this game was at Kansas. Maybe not so much, but what are you betting or what are you leaning toward here?
Oh, God, this is going to be clipped all over Twitter. I've been attacked so many times this year by Colorado fans because I was wrong about them, if they want to hear that. But let's be clear here. I mean, this isn't even the market needing to slightly adjust to Kansas. This isn't even the same football team since they went on their bye. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've covered all 4. They almost beat Kansas State for the first time in quite a while. And these aren't tomato cans they're playing. Houston, I know, not great, but they're actually an improved team. That's a better win than it may appear on paper. Kansas State, at Kansas State, I know they lost that game, but they played well. Iowa State, BYU. I mean, this is like the top of the conference that they've been playing. They beat 2 of those teams, and now they got Colorado. They come, quote-unquote, home here. I don't really think I'm giving a whole lot of home field advantage to Kansas because they got to travel, away from campus as well. And Arrowhead is in a major metro area that's very easy to fly to from Denver. We saw it with TCU. I mean, it's just like it's opposing fan takeover, which I get. But look, Jalen Daniels is also a different football player. First 5 games, 5 touchdowns, 8 picks. Last 5 games, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's just taking care of the ball better. And the Jayhawks' strength on defense is their secondary. They have a very, very good secondary, a very good tandem of corners. In Colorado, they're not out to run the football. They're 132nd in rushing yards. I'm not a huge fan of the compiling stats, but when you're like 3rd to last in the country in rushing yards a game, that means you're not running the ball or not running it very well. It kind of plays into the defense here. And conversely, Kansas has ran the heck out of the ball. 3 out of the last 4 games, they've rushed for 200 or more rushing yards. So I like it. I don't have it in my bank account. I am absolutely terrified about what this will do on social media. But yeah, I do like the way that you're thinking there, Eli.
Good situational spot. Kevin, can we make it 3 for 3-ish with the Jayhawks?
Yeah, I have built a house on betting against Kansas or against Colorado. I mean, and by that I just mean I've shot a lot of bricks. It has not been a good situation. Obviously, Kansas is a different team than what we saw earlier in the season, coming off of the big win against BYU and everything else that's going there. Daniels is a very different quarterback than what we saw to start the season. I just don't know if Colorado has enough self-awareness to know that it is, in like the top of the mountain right now, vying for the Big 12 championship game, everything else, if it's going to get tight there. But I do think that Kansas can just beat them outright. I don't think it's even going to be a matter of Colorado having to mess anything up or have, -2 turnover margin or whatever. I think Kansas is going to be able to do it. And this is very different feeling than I had 10 days ago about Kansas going into that BYU game. And I'm like going on social media. It's like, why the heck is, the line only 3 points? Well, I guess I'm a Kansas believer. Rock chalk. They're going to win.
All right. Make
We're
it a
in
3
trouble.
for 3.
We are so in trouble. Colorado's going to win this game going away, and we're going to never hear the end of it.
Well, this is, and I hate to use the cliche pros versus Joes, but we've seen this number flex all around the key number of a field goal. And I know key numbers in college football in terms of a touchdown, so a 7-point spread, and a field goal spread, so a 3-point spread, a little bit different than it is in the NFL just because of the range of outcomes. In college football, you're more likely to get a blowout in a shorter spread or just in general versus in the NFL. Key numbers are a little more critical, but still, at the key number 3, Colorado opened this line opened Colorado -3, then dipped down quickly. Sharps came in on Kansas, so Colorado down on Monday to 2.5. Then sharp money came in on the flip side on the short road, quote-unquote road to Brett's point, favorite back to Kansas +3. And I actually grabbed Kansas +3 -105. I'm all over that. Again, I know it's a little bit of not necessarily the same degree when you're talking about good college basketball spots, but this is the kind of point in the season in general in collegiate sports when I want to fade a ranked team, especially when the metrics align with that. So for better or worse, I'm on Kansas here. I grabbed that decent size bet for me at Kansas +3 -105.